up-to-date technology, knowledge and views. They know really what's going on the hardware and software-wise, so they make better decisions as consumers. And for me, the greatest strength of this approach is it gives the researchers and the participants greater ownership of the project. They get really involved with the data collection. They see the project developing from week to week, and they really take a greater ownership on that. So a couple of very brief conclusions that I would like to extend a bit more as we approaching towards the end, and then we can have some questions. VR in the last 20 plus, maybe 30 years, has really made a number of appearances, but it was really never here to stay. Now we really believe that it's here to stay. So we use virtual reality for both manipulating environments, but also researching virtual reality itself, because it's here to stay. We hear about more and more applications that platforms such as Facebook are releasing all the time, or PlayStation are now making a bigger part of the platform, which means we really need to know how this affects human behavior and decision making. Furthermore, it's so much simpler to use this time around than previous cases. All you need to do is install your software, set up your hardware right, and you're ready to go. I remember when I first worked with SDK 1, which was a really bulky piece of software, you needed a couple of hours to get everything right, and then there was almost nothing out there to try it with. Now, you need a few minutes, and then you download your first application, and you're ready to go into a virtual reality space and enjoy. We also believe it has clear research outcomes this time around, because we don't really have to worry anymore about technicalities. We don't have to worry about technical issues. All we have to worry about is setting up our experiment as methodologically sound as we can, and then get into collecting data and examining human behavior. Also, we definitely believe that it has clear educational outcomes, and especially when it comes to including, being inclusive for different students from different backgrounds and also with different abilities. Because setting up a virtual reality project can be as simple as you want it to be, but it can become as technical as you wish it to be. So if you really want to develop your technical skills, you can get into programming, you can get into 3D graphics, you can get into animation, you can get into sound. Engineering sound is a really important part of virtual reality, immersiveness, and so on. What we really want to see as we move forward, we also want to see virtual reality used in education to allow students to participate when they actually and physically cannot be in the learning experience room. So this is some of the projects we are working on for the near future, to examine to what extent students attending virtual reality lectures and lessons feel as included as they would feel if they were in the physical room itself. So I think that kind of sums up everything I have to talk about today. It was just a very brief overview of different aspects of psychological research. So I think now we can open the room for any questions, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Lazarus. Thank you very much. So could you please raise your hand if you have any questions? I'm trying to give access to hand raises, allow hand raises. Okay. Any questions? Okay, Brent, we are all ears. you can talk now, Brent.
I
Hello?
think are the mics muted? It looked to me like they're all muted.
Bear with me a second, Lazarus. Okay. Yeah.
Oops.
Okay. So, yeah, I can see Tony. I haven't raised his hand. Okay, Tony, you can talk now.
Do you have anything online, published online for your studies?
For the virtual reality ones, not yet. We're now in the process of reviews, making some decisions. Our first study with Minecraft is published. If you go on Google Scholar and type in my name and Minecraft, it will come up, and then you can read all about being immersive in Minecraft and the effect in decision making. The only reason we still haven't published our virtual reality studies is because it tends to be a lengthy process. The data collection in virtual reality sometimes takes a while, and then you need to work quite well through a number of different experiments and then finalize the manuscript. So we have now actually 2 papers under review at this stage, so hopefully we'll get positive news real soon.
Thank you, Lazarus. Any other questions?
Yeah, so Roxanne,
Tim, would you like to ask?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see a hand raise.
Yeah, hi Roxanne, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the intro due to a time zone issue. Thank you for presenting on the psychology of VR. And my question is more focused on the ethical aspects of doing no harm or preventing harm. And can you discuss a little bit about your research in that area, or if you've done or intend on doing research to further along your studies that you're currently working on in the ethical aspects of using VR to prevent harm?
Good. So I was talking more about it from the perspective of well-being. Is that your question? Because the way we use, yeah. So that's not something we haven't really got into preventing self-harm and harm. We've only used it so far as a way to enhance well-being with mindfulness meditation, and how that allows us to kind of relax and feel more like we're present in the now, and kind of relieve ourselves from stress. So I haven't done anything on preventing self-harm. I have colleagues in our school who work with kind of more criminal behaviors and how they use VR to measure these, but nothing has to do with the self-harm. So I really cannot say about myself, but from what I can kind of infer from work that has been done by other researchers, this is a highly sensitive topic, and it needs to be addressed both with VR and non-VR manipulation. So it's something that needs, if you have an interest in that topic, if you wanted to send me an email, then I can send you a few links that you can follow up. But personally, I haven't done research in preventing self-harm.
Cool. If anybody have any questions, just use the raise hand button on your right side, okay? And then Red Paint, go ahead.
Red Panther, can you hear us? Red Panther, can you hear us?
We can hear Red Panther's phone.
All right, we'll move to the next one.
Perhaps in the meantime, I can quickly ask Lazarus a quick question, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. In one of the presentations this morning, Lazarus, we were talking about the use of different senses in virtual reality, and you're coming from a psychological aspect. One of the things that was mentioned this morning is about the use of smell and the ethical issues that relate to the use of smell to try and give that more immersive experience in virtual reality in whatever context it's going to be. Is that an aspect of research that you've looked at all?
No, I haven't looked into smell and virtual reality. I would say it's probably the most difficult sense to accurately investigate in virtual reality, mainly because it's difficult to find specific odors that they've been standardized and used safely. There are some out there, but they are outside my expertise, so I haven't really looked into that. What I investigate more is really how affecting lighting and how affecting audio and visual discrepancy. For example, I manipulate the lag between seeing an action and hearing about it. How does this affect our realism? So I'm more into the audio visual investigation than the actual smell or tactile and other senses.
Right. So in the context of platforms, you were talking about Minecraft earlier on.
Yep.
Have there been any other platforms or any other gaming applications that you've used as a basis of your research, or was it primarily Minecraft as a starting point?
No, we use Minecraft for that specific paradigm of lowering realism but increasing immersiveness. I've used AltSpaceVR actually for another of my experiments where I want to measure whether interacting in virtual reality can help us feel less anxious when we are talking about personal problems, which is one of the papers that is under review. Gaming-wise, nothing more than Minecraft. We have now reached a stage after working on this for a few years that if I want something, I just create it myself in Unity, and I have students helping me with smaller tasks in Unity. We also use I think they were used to be called Facebook rooms. There was also virtual reality. Spaces or something.
Yeah, Facebook
but now that has been discontinued, I think, and now we're waiting for the new product to be announced. But that was also part of the investigation of, what do you prefer, talking to someone about difficult topics face to face, or do you prefer that conversation to happen using avatars? We have some interesting findings in that, that depending on how people feel, where they stand in anxiety, they might actually prefer the physical interaction more to the virtual reality one, but then the more anxious they feel, the more they want the virtual reality interaction instead of the physical one.
That's interesting, because I would have expected it to be the other way around, that if you're more anxious you would want empathy from a fellow human, but actually what you're saying is that they prefer more of a virtual environment if they're more anxious.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising, because what you say, there is actually research out there that people would prefer the physical interaction, but surprisingly that's what we found, and we are now working into following that with more research on that.